What is up, you guys? It's Taylor here with a new video. We are gonna have a lot of podcasts dropping. So this is the next one we have today is horror. Like I said in one of my last videos that should drop by the time I post this one, that my intention is to post to at least two podcasts a week, on top of my streams and vlogs. We might just put that to one podcast a week just to keep the videos flowing. So no, like going into the month of June, this podcast won't drop. Will be dropping um on June 13th. No, that is live on June 20th because we have one dropping on June 13th and one on June 6th. So of course this is in the future, so those would have already dropped. But with that being said, today is going to be a horror podcast. So today's list is not actually a list; it's more like a just a commentary. So if you watched my last couple videos last year for horror, I already did a Scream podcast with the intention of doing a ranking of what was at the time the newest Scream movie, but now they released another one, so I will be doing probably take the same script but go ahead and do one about that. Just gotta update that this movie's already been out. This is just me doing the script that I never got around to doing. And then, of course, me and my dad are going to review the latest Scream movie that just came out. So, I already watched it in theaters. Really good experience. Had not been to a theater in a long time, but I did go and watch that. And my intention is to watch it again with him because I love you for that. um, so yeah, that is that situation. But last year I started doing. I was intending to do post videos week every day for a week in the anticipation of October, and then again leading up to Halloween. So I did not end up doing it. Excuse me. Videos ended up coming out. I ended up releasing videos after Halloween, so of course they sound backwards. But I'm kind of speaking of where I left off with that, since Halloween was never like my intention to be only horror in October. I am a horror fanatic, I guess you could say. Horror is my passion. If you know me and you've been a part of my channel for a while, you know that horror, excuse me, is specifically what I like for in film. Is what I want to do with film, and we have some exciting news when it comes to horror about our personal film world, that we will be announcing. I want to say July, or we might talk about it later on, even if it's regardless beforehand. Um, but with that being said, the movie we're talking about today is I Know What You Did Last Summer. Now, I know, that's not technically a movie that requires a list, which is why this podcast is going to be super short. But um, when I was picking my movies for this set of episodes and was going over what movies I wanted to do for the podcast, stuff like that, I had to look at my list of movies I loved in the early 2000s because most of these movies are movies I grew up on, right? Like I grew up watching um, I Know What You Did Last Summer. I grew up watching the original Scream movies. I grew up watching the original Halloween movies. I watched Hellraiser, Texas Chainsaw Massacre, Nightmare on Elm Street, Friday the 13th. You know, like of course I'm naming like mainstream movies in my opinion that are mainstream. But of course, off the top of my head, those are the ones like if nothing else, I know I'll be watching those. Um, and so I had to pick from these movies what I was only gonna do for a week, and I was picking the movies. And I was like, I think I'm just gonna do I Know What You Did Last Summer. Not that I don't love Hellraiser or Texas Chainsaw Massacre, but compared to I Know What You Did Last Summer, they just do not do it for me horror movie wise. And I know that sounds like that makes no sense. So those are like really good horror movies. But looking at the perspective of why I love I Know What You Did Last Summer, they are not what inspire me when it comes to horror. So the reason I picked I Know What You Did Last Summer because one of the movies that if I had to pick what horror movie inspired me to do horror, it is it paired with like a series of other movies or why. So the thing about me is that, like I said, I grew up loving horror, and so that did not negate that I loved my kitty stuff. So as a child, my favorite thing to watch was Scooby Doo, and I feel like there's gonna be people like, oh my god, no, yes, they know where I'm going with this. So I love Scooby Doo, but my favorite thing to watch was the Scooby Doo movie starring Freddie Prinze Jr., Sarah Michelle Gellar, Matthew Leonard, and forgive me, I not actually know Velma's real life person name, but I know she's a phenomenal actor. I just don't know her real name. But the other three, I know their names. So love Scooby Doo, and those movies, paired with these horror movies, are what made me love horror because they truly helped me see how acting worked while also see how horror movies worked. So that's not the game that like a lot of the black movies I watched didn't have the same actors, right? Because of course black movies a lot of times have the same actors and stuff like that. But I guess in my child brain, the way seeing them in multiple movies didn't resonate the same because it's one thing to see like Shamar Moore be in a Tyler Perry movie and then watching it like something random like Criminal Minds, for example. But it's different when you're like 5 years old. It is, of course, Criminal Minds come out to 2005, but that's my example. But it's different when you're 5 years old and you just watch Shaggy and them solve mysteries, and now you're watching a damn TV fall on his fucking head. Like those are the moments that like really shaped my love for horror. And then for I Know What You Did Last Summer, it had Jennifer Love Hewitt, it had Freddie Prinze, it had Sarah Michelle, all these people that I loved at the time when I first saw the movie. Some of my favorite cast people, or favorite actors rather. And then I loved number two because it had Brandy, and at the time, I really like when I saw her movies. I always saw the black person die first, so to see Brandy make it to the end and she didn't die first was like awesome. Now the first one, I don't think they had a black friend to die first, so of course why that wasn't a complaint because there was no black friend to die first. But right quick, since we are talking about I Know What You Did Last Summer, for those of you who don't know what the movie is about, in I Know What You Did Last Summer, uh, Freddie Prinze Jr., Sarah Michelle Gellar, uh, Jennifer Love Hewitt, and the young man that Sarah Michelle's character is dating at the time go out driving or whatever. Well, the young man that Sarah Michelle's dating at the time decides he wants to get drunk and put his fucking head in the goddamn sunroof. Like, who the fuck does that dumb shit? I can't say what to say, but like, I'm rubbing my palm because that's the shit that's who does that dumb shit. Um, so they do that he doing that dumb shit, and so I think he drops the bottle, and that's what makes Freddie Prince's character Ray swerve in the first place. I can't remember because I've seen the movie recently, but that's the time I haven't. He drops the fucking liquor bottle. So it's already a fucking issue. So Freddie Prince swerves the fucking car, swerves, and he hits some random man walking down the street, which when he hits him, they basically kill him with his fucking car. So I want to say, that, yeah, he does, right? Like he, or they think he does, rather. So they're freaking out, and if you've seen like scary movie, this is the movie that they parodied for a good chunk of that movie, right? So, so they take his body to like some random like local lake or whatever. They throw it over and say, "We don't we keep our mouths shut. No one knows I gotta." And this is something that I'm gonna comment on because this scene where where they're agreeing that no one says anything had me fucked up. Like, cause I'm like I would have if me and Ray's relationship was ruined, this moment that I'm about to describe is why. So, Sam Michelle's dude in the movie, he starts choking Jennifer Love's Hewitt character. Like he's choking her the fuck out. And Ray's puck ass is just standing there watching. He is standing there watching this his friend choke his girl out. Talking about you ain't gonna tell nobody. You ain't gonna tell nobody we did this. You gonna lead the police out this shit. Yeah, yeah, all this hoorah shit. And I'm just like, so you gonna sit there and let him choke your girl out? So you're not gonna stop people putting his hands on your girl? Your girl get choked out, you gonna stand, bitch, you a punk ass pussy ass nigga. I don't, bruh. Well, whatever. My point is, no. If we broke up, that'd be why. Cause who the fuck you don't let me get choked out? Like, oh, thanks a lot. Thanks a lot for protecting me against this crazy son of a bitch. So, so they part ways. So I want to say that it's a year later, and um, Sarah Michelle, Ray, and old boy never really left the town. I want to say I don't think old boy left the town, but Michelle, not Michelle, Jennifer Love She left. She went to college. She said, "I didn't fuck with you, motherfucker." So she ladies come back after a year, and that's when the movie unfolds. If I without telling you like every little detail, they get back and he starts killing people one by one. And by the time it's over, Ray and Jennifer Love Hewitt live. Right, they live. It ends with a jump scare where you think he got her, and it was turned out to be a nightmare. So that's how the first one kind of flows, and it has a lot of moments like where I'm like, Ray needs to get slapped for how he let this man do his girlfriend because anyway, you go stand there, let the man do it. Like the whole movie, the boy acting lit too far, like he doing lit too much. Um, there's the scene where Sarah Michelle's telling him like, hey, like my boyfriend up there dying, y'all gonna let him die. But yeah, so it's like a lot of like crazy crap going on in that movie. So then for the second movie, it's I want to say it's another year later. I want to say it's only a year. It might be more than a year. I actually didn't catch that time frame wise, but it's at least a year later. Ray and I don't remember Jennifer Love's character either name either, but Jennifer Love, Freddie Prinze are still together. She's talking about I'm not coming down home for the holidays. You can come with me to like Rio to not Rio to whatever country they were going to some island that she had won. So they are mad at each other about that. So they're like, nah. So well, that's jumping ahead in the movie. So in the movie, it's sometime it's like at least a year later. She has a roommate is Brandy. Love Brandy in this movie. Um, and you find out she's cool with this man named Will. Now she ain't dating no boy. She's just cool with his ass. Brandy got her little boy toy. All is well. But she still have moments where she swears she sees dude popping up try to kill her. So she still having nightmares or whatever, but they think everything's over, everything's fine. So they at home and they get a phone call from somebody saying we go radio station and we gonna let you win a grand prize. So if you can tell us what the capital of Brazil is, and they are like it's Rio de Janeiro. Okay, so the person's like yeah that's right that's right that's right, and so they magically win um a vacation. So they go on the vacation, and Ray's upset because he's like, "Well, you go on a vacation and you're supposed to be coming out here," and he's like playing for pros. So his buddy convinces him to take his truck and go. Now that's a whole what happens to Ray. We'll get to later. So while he's getting ready to come down there, they take a boat. They go to the island and they start doing shit. Now the people are already dying at this point. Someone's been killing everybody since they've been on the fucking island, right? But you know who's killing them yet? So then, while they're on the island already, Ray's driving, doing everything to get to the island when someone crashes his car and almost kills him. And I think they kill his boy. I think his boy was in the car with him, and he dies. So he goes to the hospital, and he learns fairly quickly that someone's trying to kill him, and he kind of comes to the conclusion someone's trying to kill him and Jennifer Love. So again, without telling the whole freaking movie, because it's a long movie to tell everything. So by the end of it, you find out who was trying to kill them, and it ends again with that jump scare of her and old boy supposedly dying. Now, my theory with that is I don't think they died. I think it was another nightmare, and they just didn't continue the franchise with them for whatever reason. Because I think there's a third one, which is why now I didn't do include it in this because I never seen the third one. Because every time I look at it, I'm like, I'm not watching that shit because it just doesn't look like it's gonna be something I'm gonna sit there and watch. So do not watch the third one. At least I don't. But yeah, so I kind of picked this one as like not my catch up. It was kind of like the one I picked because it it's the actors in it are what make me love horror. Like I said earlier, like for me, horror. Like I told my mom when I was 5 I wanted to direct, and a lot of why I told her that are is these movies, and then of course my one of my all time favorite movies. I think it's my second favorite movie is 13 Ghosts, and it's my second favorite movie, Olga Pacific of Matthew Leonard. And Matthew Leonard, he is one. He it is not because I don't have inspirations, other inspirations, but he is one of my biggest horror inspirations because it was very frightening to watch him play Shaggy and to get his back snapped and by the Juggernaut in 13 Ghosts, and then of course the TV fall on his head when he plays Stu, and then there's one more movie he played in where like let's just say he was getting to top while Dick Glare, his friend that was hiding in the closet. And I actually just found a movie recently, looking through his filmography so I kind of want to watch it again. I think it's on Tubi. Um, but those movies that I loosely saw as a kid, and I just saw them and my brain, even though it was terrified, I had nightmares for months after watching some of these movies. Excuse me, I'm over here choking. I had nightmares for months. But those nightmares didn't just that it was so fascinating to watch as he and these other actors could play these different roles and play them to where I literally thought I was watching Shaggy several times over. And of course, now that my acting that I want to do, it didn't necessarily inspire that at that age. But it did when me really want to make horror movies. Now, my biggest horror inspiration is actually Wes Craven, which I'm going to talk more about when I do not the Friday, Nightmare on Elm Street show. Because he is my biggest horror inspiration. Him and Robert Englund. But now, and the only reason I say Robert Englund is not my biggest acting inspiration when it comes to horror, is because I've only ever seen him horror stuff. He's always been in my mind the creepy guy who does creepy old shit. Even when he played in Wishmaster, it was like he's not the creepy guy, but he's like the curator. He's the art. Like he the air about him didn't really change just because he wasn't being hard. He was just like it was Robert fucking England. Like yo, um, but yes, that was my brain like mute for like 30 seconds. But that's why I love this single set of movies because of that range. Now I didn't see a number two till years later, but again that range what is so Brandy, for instance. Hell, I remember Brandy my first time seeing Brandy because I actually didn't know Brandy for her music first. I do prefer her acting, which is wild because I feel like she wasn't in much outside of Moesha and like the two movies I know her from. And when I first saw the two movies I know her from, I had never seen Moesha yet. Don't kill me. It's just I had to see Moesha because at my time I saw Moesha. I just saw Moesha first time in the last couple years. I knew of Moesha. I've seen like little snippets here and there, but I grew up watching the Parkers. So I guess my time I was watching Parkers and Moesha either wasn't aired for or I just didn't see Moesha episodes when they came on. But I knew Brandy more so from her when she played Cinderella, and then the same time I saw her and I knew I was seeing Brandy was I Know What You Did Last Summer. So my range for her was always Cinderella and then fight for her life with her little friends on the island. Like that was my range for her. Somebody else that I felt the range was like okay, like it really helped the movie make the franchise be something I love is Jack Black. I always saw him as this fun loving like character. And so when I saw him in that again, I want to say I saw I know you did some two well after I saw I want to say I saw it before I saw a lot of these character actors and stuff actually, because I'm going based on the reference of I saw like because I saw Don't You Did Last Summer. I saw these movies when I was a kid. Like I was like had to be 5 years old and no older than five when I first saw these movies. But a lot of my time seeing Jack Black and Brandy and them was after the fact. So the only people I really registered that like okay their acting was the people from Scooby Doo. But as I got older, I really learned to appreciate it. That's when I saw Brandy and them. I really like registered. Oh my god, like that range inspired my love of how horror can work. Um, and that's why when I planned out this podcast, it was more so to say I like talk about I know what you did last summer, but also talking about how these movies could inspire people to do what they want to do what they love. Because I do like, of course, my father does film, so he's also inspiration. But the things that like I wouldn't want to do filming wasn't for certain horror movies. Ghost on Mars, and you probably guess who I love from that is Ice Cube. Because I grew up watching Friday, and so when I first saw Ghost on Mars, I saw Ice Cube. I was like, that became one of my favorite movies to watch because is Ice Cube in a fucking horror movie. Like that shit was like wild to me. And so my biggest thing for my podcast when it comes to horror is also going to be that I'm going to talk about different horror movies, but also talk about how that movie impacted me in my journey to make horror movies, because a lot of what I do is towards that goal to make horror movies, and share that passion with people. And so, not every episode, but there are going to be episodes like this where I go from talking about the movie to just talking about horror in a general sense, because it's really just a fascinating genre. It's a genre with a lot of talent and passion and hard work. And as a kid, I always just hear people say, "Well, horrors are an easy genre. All you need is tits, gore, and a nice killer." And I'm like, "Yeah, but that's a lot of what some of it is." But when you want to build an actual franchise or build an actual character with depth and something that people were going to remember, you need more than just a nice pair of tits, some gore, and a random monster. You need something that's going to last and leave an impression. And that's what I want to create. Like, even when people say zombie movies are easy, I mean, I guess if you can find you a couple hundred people in a solid situation, you can say that's easy. But no film is easy to make. Even if it's a short skit, it's not the easiest thing in the world to make. And that's something I tell people a lot when it comes to horror, and when they talk to me about that being my dream giant drama to work in. But I think that's what I'm going to talk about today is a little bit of I Know You Last Summer and where I'm at with film. We do have a happy announcement to make about something we took the first steps in, film wise in our next entrepreneur podcast. Since my film work is also my entrepreneur work. So with that, be someone with the music, play me out, and I'll see you guys later. Bye.